Little mt55. This one I think is an 05. I've had it for about 5 years now. 1,420 hours on it now. I got it when it had about 1,050, and done a couple mods since then. I had to replace the hydraulic wheel motors. Another reason it's here is for the hydraulic pump on the right side's been noisy. I lapped them when I first got them, but they were really thin. There wasn't much brass left on them on the plungers. We'll try it out today. We'll take that pump off and go from there. And we're going to take these off too. Okay, so and this one's a little bit noisy now when you're turning right, putting a load on it. It's a little louder than it should be, and there wasn't much material on them, so here's another issue. These tend to crack right there. Another one up here. You can see where I've welded them before and they're starting to crack again. I should probably put a fish plate over there or something like that. But I think it's just from the torsion of the frame, right? Yep. And here's, you can see where I cut the front off and then made little tabs and drilled and tapped them, fit them back on. Makes it nice for getting to the front of the engine. Otherwise, yeah, it's pretty shitty trying to pull the rad and everything. Okay. Just pop one side off with the puller. It's 5/16 by 24 threads per inch for those. Yeah, you can see these seals. I didn't replace these last time I was in here, but I noticed some wetness behind there before. Couldn't see exactly where it's coming from. It's not coming from the rear main or anything like that on the engine. It's not coming from the small hydraulic pump there. It's coming from these seals. So it's a good thing we've taken this apart. And we'll get those fixed. I also found another thing. This is something with this equipment. You always have to be checking everywhere for things to rub through. So this is the ground for the alternator, which wouldn't be the worst thing if the ground went through. It wouldn't be charging, but if that was the power side, it could cause a lot of problems for you on the job, you know? So you always have to be looking to see where things are rubbing. And so what I need to do is tie this back with a zap strap and then put some more protection on there. Don't give you a lot of room there. All right, we got the bolts loose. We're gonna pull it out. Alright, so we got it all cleaned up. We're going to start the disassembly. Yeah, some scoring here. That's where the fluid's getting passed. Yeah, and a couple good ones there. You can see you can barely make out the numbers on this one because I lapped it, cleaned it up. And here's this one. That looks pretty good, but we would lap that one as well. And then you can definitely see some scoring on these as well. Oh, there's a good one right there. Right here. I mean, there's bound to be some shrapnel to still go through the system after I replaced the wheel motors and cleaned everything out really well. It's just no way to avoid it. But so here's after lapping it. So I ordered the wrong one. Let's go in the opposite direction. So this one had some deep grooves in it. And now it just has one right there, and it's barely fill it with your finger. That one too. So we've taken it down about 4 thou. I could probably go a little more actually. And these seals are not a common seal. I've got a part number of 4993012-002. I just ordered 2 of these. I'll probably be here in a week. They're specific to these hydraulic pumps, these Eaton pumps, so they don't make them to be a standard size. The OD is 1.621. Normal seal would be like a 1.65, you know, like 1 5/8 kind of thing. And then the ID is 1 inch, which is totally doable, and then 1/4 inch width. So yeah, but I think we're gonna put it all back together with the old seal, and then a week from now when they come in, put the new seals in, which is kind of a pain in the butt, but that's the way it goes. A little bit of dirt in there, so we'll clean those up too. The bearings look good in there. Bearings look good in there. Just cleaned up the shaft a little bit. A little bit of pitting on that outside wiper edge, but it should be okay. So we just finished lapping our plate just on here. We started off with a 120 or a 220, and then went to a 400, and then a 600. So you just, when you're lapping it, you get a little WD-40 on there and do a figure 8, and keep doing it, and you eventually get there. We got there pretty close. You can't feel any of this by hand except just a slight. You really can't even feel that one. Alright, so we're going to reassemble. Wow, what a pain in the ass that is. There's all the guts from our hydraulic pump. 3 pistons. Your valve plate. And this rides directly on the valve plate and spins. The holes down below there, spring inside. So we got the pump all back together. I'm just going to put it back in, just in case you're wondering. Here's the part number of it. And when I ordered wheel motors for this, I ended up ordering them through Motion Canada, I believe. This was 3 or 4 years back now, and I got them for, I want to say $1,200, maybe $2,200 each. Now they want $5,000 each for these. Bobcat doesn't want anybody else getting these, and so if you call Eaton that number, they'll say they won't sell them to you, but they'll sell them to Motion Canada. Go figure that one. So here's the little piece I leave in the plastic tank for the hydraulic reservoir. It's just a bolt, and I put 2 neodymium magnets on it. You can see there, last time I checked it was probably 80 or 100 hours ago. So there is some fines on it, but nothing too crazy. Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, there we go. Not too bad. And then we'll just pump this back in the tank. I mean, it's not going to get your bronze and your brass and other things, but it's good to pick up any metal.
So here's the setup I have for filling it back up. You can't get a 20-liter pail in there. So this is what I did last time, so just doing that again. Way to bleed the air from the machine. It's easier than putting it under a load. Having all that pressure on there with air in the system, it's hard on the pump. So if you raise it off the ground, put something under the back end and raise up the front, you can free spin it. There's not a lot of pressure on that pump to turn that wheel motor, and it's easier on it. You can see right now we got some air in the system, so I'm just going to let that sit for a little bit, half an hour, and then we'll come back and top it up, and then we should be good. But there doesn't seem to be any leaks. I think we're all good. Still gotta take these back off and replace the seals. The seals are a special order item. Nobody has them in town. So other than that, we didn't have to touch the linkage or anything. We just removed it from back there and left all this internal to the pump this time. Last time I took it off, so I had to reset everything when I reinstalled it. But really you just need to get the back end of this off, and you can get the front seal off from that side, and then all the guts are in there. You don't have to take off any of the bearings for the side, as long as they're in good shape and they move freely. These ones don't spin continuously, they're just back and forth on either side, so you don't have to worry about that. Fixed some loose ends. We had some wires rubbing down there, had some wires rubbing over there, some straps to hold it off the rail, and then we got to order another filter for this too. Dusty conditions, they seem to go through them pretty quick. All right.